Hello my darling, it's Chanel, and today I am doing a bit of a yearly wrap-up of my reading in 2024. It is Christmas today, so I might stick some Christmas footage onto the end of this video, but without much further ado, let's talk about my year in reading. So this year I read a total of 608 books. Now I know the graphic says 791, but that's because it also included the 183 books I DNF'd. So this was probably my biggest reading year thus far, having read 608 books in full. I'm currently trying to generate some other images. If I was successful, I'll put them up on the screen. But out of the 608 books I read, I only had 24 5 stars, which is a paltry 4%. So 4% of the books I did read were standouts. Look, I know it's very hard to find 5 stars. I'm very stingy with my 5 stars. It's more a feeling than anything else. And I just don't get that feeling very often. But so, if you look at it just as the number 24 5-star reads, that's amazing. It's 2 5-star reads a month. But because I read just such a huge amount of books in comparison to all the other books I consumed, it wasn't a very large portion of the pie. So this year, as usual, I read from every genre, and there are some genres like horror that I really leaned into for the first time in my life. So I'm just really happy with how much I went outside of my comfort zone, how much I'm branching out with the types of books I'm reading, that I'm not being too judgmental and closed-minded with giving books a go, even if my feelings of, like, say, for instance, in regards to the TikTok romanticises, I normally feel it's not going to be for me. And most of the time it's not, but sometimes I end up with a 3-star book or a 3.5-star book, and that's still great. And I can then understand also too more of the public discourse or the mainstream popular opinions. It just gives me more of a broader perspective of the literary world and the reading population. Even though I'm not a librarian anymore, I still read diversely because I'm just into the habit of it. Like, as a librarian, you do have to familiarize yourself with all the genres so that you can really help your patrons and cater to their exact tastes. If I only read fantasy and I had people asking for what's a good romance, what's a good mystery, I would be a shitty librarian. So that is something that has stuck with me, even though I'm no longer working in the libraries. Yeah, I still like to read anything and everything, even like memoirs and biographies and things I would never have, really cared for that much before. I'm still continuing on, and I'm still sometimes being quite pleasantly surprised by what I pick up. I always say, what have you got to lose in picking up a book? If you've borrowed it for free, I understand. If you've gone and purchased it, you could be losing that money that you spent because you didn't get the enjoyment value back for the cash that you gave. But if you're borrowing from the library, you really do have nothing to lose. So I say, give anything and everything a go. You never know, you might end up surprising yourself. Before I get into the top 24 books that I read in the year of 2024, I also thought I'd do a quick little brief mention of what I have planned for my channel in this new year. So as I've said previously, I probably overextended myself last year posting. I think I was posting 4, sometimes up to 6 times a week. Every second day I was posting a video, and that's a lot. It's a lot of filming and editing. So I'm hoping to scale it back and get on in a consistent schedule. So I thought at the very least 2 videos per week, posting on a Wednesday and a Saturday. And if I have extra videos or footage, I'll post them on the other days of the week. But I thought every Wednesday, every Saturday, I'll have something to show you guys and books to share with you. Like I said previously, I'm in the process of maybe setting up a Patreon for certain videos that are just YouTube is just not happy with, and I don't like censoring myself, and I don't think it's something I could do permanently all the time. I would like to be able to fully express myself, especially in regards to certain videos that I think benefit from me being able to say whatever words I would like to. So once I have that set up, I will let you know what it's like, but don't worry, I'm not going to be going and taking all of my content and putting it behind a paywall. That's not going to happen. It'll be just like 1 or maybe just 2 things extra on there. Like I said, I'm figuring out what I'm going to put on there, but in the meantime, this month will be as usual, like I've always done. I just want to also give a big shout out to all of my regular viewers. Thank you very much. Whether you comment or not, whether I'm aware that you're watching or not, I do appreciate you. And an extra thank you to those people who watch, who have gifted me books and things. That is incredibly generous of you, and I'm immensely grateful and thankful that you wanted to show me your appreciation in that way for I guess, entertaining you a little bit on here. Hopefully I'm entertaining. And hopefully I bring a book to your awareness that you end up loving. That would be a wonderful bonus. So now that's done, I'm going to turn this down. I feel like it's always so bright. That's a little bit better. I know it's more shadows on my face, but like I can't have the lights shining in my face. I don't know how performers do it. Let's look at the 24 books that I enjoyed. These are in random order. So I didn't structure these. That's something also I'm going to do next year. I'm setting up Excel spreadsheets so I can do better record keeping because I know I'm shite at it. I am just so unprofessional, and I feel like I should be a little more professional now that I've been on here for 2 years, get my shit together and just, you know, tighten up the way things are run. Okay guys, I've just taken a quick look at the time because I got a message from my ex-husband. I'm like, what time is it? I am not going to be able to run through them all now. So here's that, you know, organized Chanel. I will run through a few and then the rest I'm just going to have to film when I get back from Christmas, and I'm going to look fucked, to be honest. I'm going to be overfed, overstuffed, overtired, but that's the way it's going to go. I will talk about a few now, and then I've got to get all the desserts out and ready to go and head off because we've got to go to their dad's first so they can do the presents there, and then we've got to go to the big family function, which is an hour away. So once again, these are not in order, okay? So these are all 5 stars though. We have The Hotel Balzar by Kate DeCamillo and illustrated by Julia Sada. This is just a really lovely middle grade magical realism book about a little girl and her mother who are low income and working at this hotel, and their father has been missing. And it's just a heartwarming hug in a book. I will also mention that the majority of these are fantasy. That is obviously my most beloved genre and the one most likely to end up with a 5-star rating, but some other genres also snuck their way into here. So we've got The Wild Huntress by Emily Lloyd-Jones. This is a fantasy, YA fantasy, based around the wild hunt. So a lot of lush Welsh mythology, a bit of a love triangle, but in a way that I could stomach. And one of the characters is a trickster whose loyalties you are never truly certain of. But I really enjoyed it, so much so that I have bought a fancy edition of it. We have American Rapture by C.J. Lead. So this is a horror book that is about religious trauma, sex-crazed, flesh-eating zombies, coming of age, good doggies, and just trying to survive. It's everything I want in a horror. I loved it. Check the trigger warnings, but I also recommend reading the afterword written by the author. The Tinker's Daughter by Josephine Angelini. So this is the second in the Chronicles of Lucitopia series, and this is like a LARPer's dream come true. Basically, these kids get to become part of this other magical world and perform quests and slay dragons and evil sorcerers and maybe fall in love too while they're there. I loved it. It's got a wholesome vibe to it, but it's just a lot of fun. It's a great adventure. Then we have Thrum by Meg Smitherman. So this is a sci-fi horror novella about a lady and a ship and a whole lot of blood and dead bodies along the way. I loved it. It fucked with my head, and I ate up the romance. I am becoming slightly concerned about the kind of romance that I am becoming more and more intrigued by these days. Hey honey, what's up? Zip, zip, zip. Zipper Zipperoni. Next we have Oh It's You, Love Poems by Cats by Francesco Marciano. And yeah, I have this, I'm not gonna go get it, but it's just a feel-good book to me. It's cats, beautiful pictures of cats, and poems written by them, and cats are dicks, they're assholes. So it made me laugh. It's not gonna be for a lot of people, but I, as a cat lady, yeah, I was just like, this is great, this is a good time. It makes me happy, and it fills my cup. We have The Door-to-Door Bookstore by Karsten Henn, translated by Melody Shaw. Okay, so this is a mostly cozy feel-good book about this elderly man who delivers books to customers and ends up meeting a precocious little girl and learns that sometimes letting people in enriches your life. I will say there is some unexpected violence in here, so it's not all cozy, but overall this was wholesome, bookwormy kind of book. Then we have Life's Too Short by Abby Jimenez, which is part of her series. I forgot the name of it, I'll put it up above. I love Abby Jimenez. I don't love this particular series that she did. This was my favorite and my only 5-star out of that series. I had a giant cry about it. I'm not going to post the footage again. I did it in my other end of year book tag. But yeah, I was bawling because the man in this was just so incredibly altruistic, and acts of service was his love language, which I appreciate because it's my top one besides physical affection. Yeah, I loved it. Despite the fact one of the other characters was a content creator, and I don't normally love reading about that, Abby Jimenez still managed to hit me in the feels. So that's why it's a 5-star. Then we have Worst Wingman Ever by Abby Jimenez. So, well, actually more than 2 of her books have made the list this year. This was one of those little Amazon exclusive things, and it was short and sweet, but I think it was about a nurse who ended up inadvertently swapping windshield notes between her and another man who thought he was getting a different car and not hers. And so they have this exchange before they meet in person, and it was just well done. Abby Jimenez's romances always have some kind of serious life situation going on, and I appreciate the depth that it brings. We have A Nameless Witch by A. Lee Martinez. So this was a reread. This was a 5-star book I read many, many years ago and I thought, does it still hold up? It was actually a 4-star read, to be honest, previously. On the second read, it became 5-star. I loved it even more. If you liked Nettle and Bone but want something a bit edgier, a bit more adult, then this is for you. It's about a nameless witch, a troll named Worm, an enchanted broom, and a demonic duck named Newt. There's a bit of romance in here, but our witch is a cannibal, so that might put some hurdles in the way of a blossoming love, but I really enjoyed it. Another book that came from that vlog was A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. This was a previous 5-star read of mine, and it was 5 stars again. This is a middle grade book about a little boy whose mother is dying of cancer, and he calls forth the monstrous yew tree in his yard to try to save her. It's another one of those books that just had me crying rivers. We then have Pilu of the Woods by Mai K. Nguyen. This is a middle grade graphic novel about family, grief, anger, sadness, and love. The illustrations were beautiful. It featured magnolias and mushrooms in a gorgeous way, and I just adored it. I am a sucker for a really good middle grade graphic novel. Hello. Then we have Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, which is the 3rd installment in the Part of Your World series. My favorite was Yours Truly, but this was still a 5-star read as well. So actually maybe this was my favorite. Once again, lots of family drama, lots of self-reflection, trauma, shadow work that needs to be done before the couples can truly love each other. I enjoyed it. I highly recommend Abby Jimenez. She is hands down my favorite contemporary romance author, but like I said, be warned, her books are not light and fluffy. Then we have a sci-fi book. So this is A Blighted Stars by Megan O'Keefe. This is a parasite sci-fi with naughty botanicals, sentient ships, printed bodies, and forbidden love. It's almost like a bodyguard romance, but also an enemies to lovers romance, and it got me. So look, if you do like romance and do like sci-fi, this is a great romancify or sci-fomance. I don't know how you would say that, but I enjoyed it. I read the whole series. The series overall is probably a 4-star series for me, but the initial book was a 5 stars. Then we have This Fatal Kiss by Alicia Jasinska. So I think this was a YA fantasy for all the bisexuals and people who also like thruples. This is probably one of the only poly-leaning books I've read that I've enjoyed, and actually wouldn't mind if it ended up being a permanent threesome or she did end up choosing one of the options. It's based on Slavic mythology. You've got enemies to lovers because you've got like pretty much a demon and the demon hunter in play, having to work together against a greater evil and falling in love along the way. Very morally grey main female lead, like seriously, you know, she's a monster. She likes to drown men, so, you know, that can have some complications, but I loved it. The cover is also fucking stunning. Then we have a knockout novella. This is The 6 Deaths of the Saint by Alex E. Harrow. I think, once again, this was part of some Amazon series. If you love Brienne of Tarth, you'll love this. A quote from here: "I would rather love a coward than mourn a legend." I can't tell you much about this because it's so short and it has a interesting plot that I think is better if you just discover it as you read it, but it's definitely on the darker side. It's something that you have to be in the right mind frame for. If you're looking for a happy ending and all things wonderful, don't read this. But otherwise, if you want something brutal but badass, read this. Oh, darling. So now we've got like a speculative fiction or dystopian. It's The Blue Book of Nebo by Manon Stephan Rost. This is set in a post-nuclear world about a mother and her son who were trying to survive. It's definitely focused on their relationship, on the life that they are now living in the Welsh countryside. It is beautiful, it is quiet. I shed tears, it was well done. Then we have Open Throat by Henry Hoke. This is sort of a magical realism book that's based on the mountain lion that used to live in the Hollywood Hills that was euthanized. And we're in their POV as they make social commentary, as they have thoughts about humans and what they do and why they do the things they do. And once again, this book absolutely won me to its side. I would lay my life down for this beautiful, beautiful Hollywood kitty. I'm sorry if that's going to be annoying. My kid's getting ready. We have another middle grade book. This is Snapdragon by Kat Lee. So it's a graphic novel. And this is about a precocious kid who finds friends, purpose, and magic. It's heartwarming. The illustrations were lovely. It's pretty much just a bunch of little queer cuties finding each other. Would recommend. Also, it's witchy, in case I didn't portray the magic element there. Then we have The Salt Grows Heavy by Cassandra Core. This is a horror book about a man-eating mermaid and a plague doctor, monster, Frankenstein dude who find themselves with a sort of reluctant alliance and then trying to survive and falling in love in the process. I named these two as my favorite couple of the year and I stand by that. This is monstrous. This is not for everybody. I don't think many people actually like this book, but it worked for me. Then we have Happy Death Club, Essays on Death, Grief and Bereavement Across Cultures by Naomi Westermans. This is a non-fic about death, rituals and death rites and grief. And it was really fascinating. It just touched on a lot of different topics around the main theme, and I had such a fun time reading it and learning new things. Then we have another non-fic. This is Cocktails with My Cat, Tasty Tipples for Feline Fanatics by Natalie Bovis, illustrated by Ray Ritchie. I don't even drink alcohol, but this was just fun to read. And I used to, back when I was 18 for that 1 year, I did used to drink cocktails. That was my thing. I didn't do beer, wine, whatever. It was cocktails. These cocktails will sound so freaking cool and different and unusual, and they're paired with like fun cat facts and cat stories and beautiful illustrations. So if you've got someone who loves to whip up a cocktail and loves cats, this would be a great gift for them. Then we have Hera Lindsay Bird by Hera Lindsay Bird. This is a 5-star poetry book for me. I fucking loved it. I put the video up here where I recited one of the poems from it. They're weird and wonderful. And I'm finishing up with The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane by Kate DiCamillo, illustrated by Bagram Ibatulin. So I read this because it was my best friend Kate's book that she gave to me. It's a picture book. I won't really say it's for young children. This book is, I guess, a glimpse of life in that not everyone gets a happy ending. Not everyone gets a fair go at life. Not everyone gets what they deserve, pretty much. And yeah, it was something I ended up having to do this like therapeutic practice of where I rewrote one of the character stories because I just could not rest with what happened to them. It was so unjust and unfair and heartbreaking that I needed to write him a different ending to his story because he deserved as much. So yeah, this book probably did scar me a little bit. I did get a little bit of trauma from this, but it is, yeah, it's amazing. If you're going to read a kid's picture book, I think this would be the one. I'm sure you will get something from it. Well, look at that. I did manage to get through them quickly. I tried to just hustle my ass and I've managed to do it. And now we've got to go and enjoy Christmas. So I'll leave you with footage from Christmas. But I had a fantastic 2024 with my reading. Like, even though probably my overall percentage, I don't know what the rating average was. It would have been up on the screen. I'm guessing it wasn't high. It doesn't matter. I still loved everything I did, everything I read, everyone I spoke to, everyone I befriended. And in terms of being on BookTube too, it was an amazing year. The first year is rough, I'm not gonna lie. I think anyone who starts as a booktuber will attest that first year, you're trying to find your footing, you're trying to find your confidence and your way around things. And it's not easy. I don't even feel like I'm really there yet, really settled into myself and my groove and have, you know, gotten my channel and its vibe down pat. I'm still sort of figuring it out, but I've come a long way and I'm looking forward to where I go next. If you've been watching, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing this time and space with me in this life. I think I'm being really lame now, so I will let you guys go. Happy holidays. I know I'm not with you in person. I am with you in spirit. We are all connected in some way through time and space, through the internet, through this little box in which you're viewing me. I hope some wonderful books found their way to you this year. And until next time, stay wild, star child. Okay, so the first dessert is this lemon meringue trifle. So on the bottom layer, I made a lemon yogurt cake with lemon frosting and lemon curd. Then I did a lemon tonic syrup, and then I did a whipped cream, so it's just a straight up whipped cream. And then we have a lemon curd, and then on top we have a toasted Italian meringue. So that's the first dessert. Okay, this one isn't as pretty. I did not think about the decoration. Totally forgot. Normally I would have done some white chocolate, candy canes, things like that. Completely forgot to get the decorations. So this is just a straight up pistachio cheesecake. So the cheesecake has pistachios, and there's a white chocolate pistachio ruff, and then there's a pistachio spread on top. Beautiful kitty cat. Oh, what's your name?
That's hilarious.
We got a lot of people, so like 30 seconds.
Once Auntie Sarah was in the car, she was like,
Nova's found a new buddy. Yeah, you've got to put it so we can see the face side by side. Nova's new buddy. Hey, Nova.
yeah,